We're live. I mean, it'll probably know.
Yeah, it just pops up, I think.
Right, good to go, Marcus.
All right. Okay, so welcome to FTF's live stream of the questions. We've just had our premiere of two pieces of work that we've worked on, our show reels and our music video. So thank you everybody that attended and watched them. We're here to basically read some questions for everybody. But first and foremost, introduce everybody, just to get everybody knows. I'm Marcus Burler. I'm director of these projects, and I shall let these two do their thing.
Yeah, I'm Daniel Warrington, and I'm the camera operator / lighting on these projects.
And I'm Ben, and I've been the editor on these projects and almost every other thing.
Okay, so we've got some questions from people that watched us stuff from the comments. So I'm going to read them out. So we've got one here. How did FTF become to be? So how did FTF come to be?
Well, you know, when you find a group that you work so well with, it ends up forming into something magical, like FTF production. For anyone who wants to know, FTF stands for the film, which was a phrase that we would use often during our times filming, where if anything sounded too extreme or impossible or too stressful, we would simply say for the film and get it done to the best of our abilities.
Yeah, it's basically, you know, the culmination of kind of the collective minds and everything working very well. So you decide to work together on more of a project and put it under the banner of production, because then you're creating an entity for your individual works to be pushed up and making it much better from that way. So yeah, hopefully that answered that question. So I've got another one here. Are there any productions in the work at the moment? So I shall take the lead on that one very quickly. Are there any projects in the works at the moment? Well, we've got one that I'm wanting to do over the summer, which is another short film that we're wanting to create, a science fiction film, pretty much. Have some cool elements that we'd be willing to show. The script's already written for that, because you've got to start planning very, very fast. Bit of insight into some filmmaking there. That's one of my individual projects, which I'll be working on with these two here. I don't know if they've got any individual projects they would like to speak about.
Well, I'm planning on remaking an animation I did. For those who saw the show reel, of the and saw the moments where it was a little animated man running from one side of the screen to the other. I'm planning on remaking that, but with live action people and involving a lot of running, so that'll be fun. Other than that, I don't think so, other than working with the esteemed gentleman, Marcus Burler. And Dan, I guess.
Cheers.
Are you working on anything, Dan?
Well, I've a couple of ideas. I have one idea. It's kind of like a silent film I'd like to do, but it's more so it's like something I'd like to do is like a challenge, like tell a narrative without any words. But yeah, I'm looking forward to working on that one over the summer. So yeah, that's pretty much it for me.
Right, great. I mean, again, hopefully that answers all. Probably hearing that a lot. Hopefully that answers the esteemed gentleman's questions. What challenges did you face while making the music video? That was sent in by Mason. Thank you for that question, Mason.
Any Mason.
Challenges while making the music video. See, it was really weird while making it, because quickly take the lead as the director of that one. It was because you're making like a fictional piece, but you're not making, it's like Dan said about making something without words. It's challenging because you have to tell a narrative with no words, no giving an audience what they want. So you've got to be a bit more over the top with things. We're working with a client as well. This is, for a music video, you're working for someone else, so you've got to meet their demands. And I think it's so hard trying to do that when you, especially with like COVID and things like that, with the circumstances that's been going on, you can't really communicate with them as much. We knew what they wanted, so we tried to do that to the best of the ability, and it's really, that's what it is. When you're doing a music video, you've got to make a music video for the music that you're creating, not for kind of yourself. So it's hard, and that was like my take as the director. I don't know if these want to tell about the challenges they've faced while making one.
Do you want to go first?
From my experience throughout it, filming went okay. I don't know if you guys can agree on that. I think filming went fine.
Yeah.
Everything in post, with the amount of effects I had to add, I was running into problems left, right, and center. And there was just so many challenges I had to overcome, and I'd spend hours trying to figure out a solution, and then it'd be something like I'd delete one effect and it works. Stuff like that. Other than that, that's just my personal experience on it. I don't know about if you want to add on, Dan.
I mean, yeah, like originally, I think we were supposed to like meet with like the client, and we were going to do like the video with them in it and stuff.
Yeah.
But like due to COVID, we couldn't do that. But I think it kind of worked in our favor because it's kind of like abstract music, so we could play around with it and make it to like our advantage in a way. So I guess that's one challenge that we've like had to overcome, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, it were difficult. Like I said, making music videos different, and I think, again, I'm going to say it again. Hopefully that's answered the question that they had. It's just been difficult, but all worth it in the end because we think we created a very decent project, and we wouldn't think it was decent and wouldn't upload it if we didn't think it was. You put the effort in and you tried to make it. So yeah, again, hopefully I answered the questions. So Cameron Kennedy said, "Love the music. What software did you guys use?" So that's in relation to the show reel that we created. I will let Dan take over that one because he was the one that was more doing music for things. So I'll let Dan take that.
Well, the music was made on software called Fruity Loops Studio. It's just like you kind of run of the mill like I think it's called a digital audio workstation, and basically just you play around with the instruments and you create songs. I don't know what much else I can add to it. I mean, I'm sure if you've like used the software, you'll get what I mean. But it's yeah, that's much detail I can go in on that because I'm not very heavy into like music theory or all. So I just get something that sounds good to like hear rather than like the technicalities of it. If you know what I mean.
A lot of playing about with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well.
So that's really good. I mean, we'll move on. Again, Cameron, obviously, thank you for that comment, and I hope we answered that question. I will say this every single time. So, from Marcus Dawson, in relation to the show reels again, do we get a sequel? If we're looking at kind of making more show reels and stuff like that, if that's what we're kind of meaning, then of course we want to. You're going to get better with, from my opinion, we're going to get a lot better with everything as we go on. So you're going to make more show reels, hopefully, and you're going to add more and more stuff, and that's how people in the industry will know that show reels are a good way of showing your talents, and that's what we say that their purpose is. So I think that I'm going to assume that answers for everybody. I'll
Yeah,
let
yeah, I
them a little bit, but
started to add like my favorite part is making little videos to put in a show reel, and then being creative with that show reel. That's been my favorite part of doing it. Haven't been able to do it as much because of COVID. Thank you very much. But yeah, that's me.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really have much to add to that. I mean, I will be making more show reels when more projects have been made, which I think is natural in like film and screen kind of area. Yes, that's pretty much my thoughts.
Yeah. So again, thank you, Marcus, for the question, and I believe that answers it very well because again, you want to keep creating stuff. So, how difficult is it making a show reel? That's by Mason Allroyd again. Thank you for attending both of them. That's very, very appreciated. Again, I'll quickly take over that one. Difficulty making show reel, like it's hard because you want to put as much as you can in, but you've got to keep it short and sweet. You've got to keep your best bits, but sometimes you're like, well, I don't know, that shows my more creative side, but if it's not as technically good as another side, that's something you've done, then you probably want to do them. So it's a hard one. You've got to try and show yourself the best as you can, simply with a show reel. I think like that's the difficult part. It's like identifying you through a show reel. That's the aim. Is you want to be able to look at a show reel and go, that's what they do. So it's difficult making them. It just is because you've got to make it personalised. I'll leave them to Ben and Dan to answer the rest of that one.
I agree with that. It really depends on what you want to bring to your show reel. Whether you want it to just be a montage or you want it to get creative with the transitions between them, and really like show not just to show your work, but to show like your personality as well. So yeah, it's about as difficult as you want to make it.
Yeah. I guess I'd say the hardest thing is deciding what doesn't get into it. Especially when maybe there's a clip that's maybe like 20-30 seconds, but obviously you can't have it. Show reels, it's a short form thing to show off your work. And I think I'd agree with Ben about it showing like your personality as a filmmaker as well. So that puts across like your interests as well.
I forget that one.
I think that answered it very well. Again, thank you very much, Mason, for attending those.
Thank you, Mason.
So, got another question.
Yeah, cheers.
What was the thought process when coming up with a music video narrative? So, I think I can take this one again. It's a weird one. The narrative comes from the personality of the person that we were doing this for, the band, and what they wanted, what the clients you're working with. So you've got to take their personalities, their experiences, and you've got to put them all in a video. And they said they're like very abstract things. They're like very, very weird and wackiness. And they're like things like flamingos and things like that. So you've got to kind of put a big... We kind of just came up with the idea of a wacky talent show, really, to go through with. And I mean, that's like the narrative, it's just a wacky talent show where things kind of go wrong, showing that nature of like a party. And the judges are a kind of representation of like not allowing themselves to have a bit of fun, always judging others. When they are brought up on stage, they're not having fun. And that was kind of bits of the narrative coming through. And I think it's meant to be a bit wacky, a bit zany. But it's very simplistically, and it's kind of narrative of how it shows and how it showed the client and things like that. So I don't know if you want to add anything to you two.
Yeah, I would agree. Like the hardest thing is being given all this work, but also having so many restrictions. Because at the end of the day, you want to... a little bit of you wants to make it as if it's your thing, but you've got to remember it's for a client, and their needs will come first. All you could do is like push your ideas and maybe hopefully see eye to eye. Other than that, yeah, the process was trying to come up with a narrative that matches the band as much as the song, I guess, as well.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't have as much like ideas when it came to like narrative as you two did for like the talent show. But when you explain like the style of like the talent show and that, I mean, I did research into like different setups and stuff of other talent shows, so I guess that could answer that question in a way, because I didn't do too much narrative wise in like what goes here or what goes there necessarily.
That's fair.
Yeah, it is. And I think I think when you do that, you've got, again, it's such one of those hard things, because when you're doing a music video, it's for somebody, so it's like narrative has to reflect the band and has to reflect things like that. So you smashed it. And again, thank you to the person that said that. That was from an anonymous person, by the way, no name.
Fair. Thank you, Anonymous.
One request that we got through private messaging. So thank you very much to the person that sent them in. Do some quick ones here. I mean, there is, I'll give one that Ben can take the leans on. What was the process behind effects in the music video?
Well, but I think during the initial plan of the narrative, we had a lot more ideas for talents and stuff that we could do. Until then, I pushed it forward. Until then, we came up with the shadow puppet idea, and essentially, Marcus looked at me and said, "Is that possible?" And I said, "We're about to find out."
Which happens a lot, by the way.
Yeah, it's we mainly wing it all the time. So that ended up creating the thing of like, in a way, like less is better, because we managed to, instead of having all these little talents, we managed to have a big explosive talent in the end. So that was great and stuff, and we managed to do a bit of teleporting and stuff and lead up to the big finale, which was the shadow puppets. However, then we looked back on it, and it felt as if it was less colourful. Like, we showed it to some people, and the main criticism was it wasn't very colourful. And for a band which is like mostly considered with like colourful and tropical settings, it didn't really match. So that's when we went and decided to add little scribbles in the frames and little drawings and make it very crazy and upload filters and stuff like that. From the outside, I'm sure it looked like I was having a mental breakdown, and I can assure you, I was having a mental breakdown. So yeah, that's the process behind it, is coming up with an idea, winging it, and hoping for the best, and then some more.
I think we've mentioned this in our social media pages, which you can follow on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. We are FTF Productions. It's kind of sometimes with the things like that, it's about your planning. You can plan as much as you want, but in the end, sometimes it can fail, and you're like, right, well, let's wing it and let's do this, and you can create some decent stuff from it. I think that's sometimes the nature of just filmmaking in general. There's another question here that we've got been sent in just via. I'm afraid your name is not loading. My apologies, but there's been one here, and it is: do you have any regrets in how you made things? So I'm assuming that's how we made, like in what we made and how we made like films and things. In terms of the regretting like filmmaking and stuff like this, things that we regret, like not pushing things forward fast enough. In terms of like things we haven't shown yet, there's certainly things that we would kind of say it's a strong word, is regret. I think more so wish we'd have done. It sounds a bit daft to say it like that. but it's certainly been hard with everything that's been going on in the current world, like climate and whatnot. But in terms of things that we regret, I think like music video, like you said, wish we'd have made it more colourful with the actual colours in the video. That's things you got to be honest as. If you wanted to get better as a creative practitioner and getting better as somebody that's going into the industry, you got to be able to take criticism. You got to be able to take yourself further. So again, got to understand the mistakes you've made as filmmakers. Just like in any job, you make a mistake, you got to say, made a mistake, let's go forward. So that's the thing I would be saying, let's get more colour in that video. So that's like a regret you would have in terms of like show reels and stuff. Maybe there's a couple of scenes that I would have liked to have in from the films that I've done recently, but haven't put in yet. I don't know. Is there any regrets from editing or camera wise that you guys would do, and say why?
You go, Ben. Sorry.
Okay, I'll say that like the amount of times I'm editing and I'll find like some continuity error, or when I'm trying to composite special effects together and the scenes don't match up and stuff. There are times where you'll see the regret of like, I wish we would have thought of this during filming. It happens far too many times, and it will happen in the future. You'll always look back and know you could have done it better. And it's just something you have to deal with when filmmaking. You can always, I guess, you can always go back and do reshoots, but when you're working against a time frame, there's always a little bit. I think there's always that little voice in the back of your head that thinks we can fix it in post, and that may be
Which is not
possible.
always the solution, by the way.
Yeah,
not always the solution. You can't
Yeah.
always fix it in post. The biggest
Yeah.
lie.
Yeah, which isn't always ideal. Sometimes it can be done, but boy, does it just make your life easier if you get it right first. If you don't stop until you get the right amount of footage or enough of that footage, so it gives you options, and you just have so many more. You can come up with so many more solutions in post. It just comes down to like trying not to be lazy when filming, and at the end of the day, it does get very tiring, and you do want to go home, but you do have to consider: have you got enough? Is that what you want to add, Dan?
I don't think like regret. I think you always like look back at stuff you've done, and you think, oh, why didn't I just do it this way or that way or something? Or I would have filmed it differently now. I've had more like experience filming other stuff as far. I think usually it's when you can't see something like a monitor or something, but when you see it on the big screen, then you'd notice like a little mistake here or there that you wish you could like reshoot or something. But no, I won't say I regret anything. It's usually just like a frustration. Yeah.
Yeah, I think sometimes when you make a mistake, you can't make it again. I think sometimes that's the nature of it. Like, you wish you could go back and change it to have a better product, but at the same time, you've learned from that mistake now. I think
sometimes the mistakes work better than like the original thing as well.
Yeah. Sometimes I think that's a brilliant question, by the way. Like, thank you again. An anonymous tip. An anonymous question. No named commenter. But yeah, it's a brilliant question because the thing about it is like the worst thing in film is hindsight. I think that's something I've learned as a filmmaker and as a director. When you sat there going, I've got this vision for a crazy story, and then you start making it and you go, well, why did I not just do that first? Why did I not just do it this way? That is one of the worst feelings. Like you can go from the ecstasy of, wow, my vision's been made, to, wow, why did I not just do it that way? So yeah, I think that's it. It's such a hard one. I think we've got one final question. We shall do that. So let's have a look. What film? So yeah, we'll end it on a nice one there. What film or filmmakers inspired you? So,
I guess one of my favourite filmmakers, but I wouldn't say like their work you can see in my work or all like that. Is Scorsese. It's like films like Goodfellas, King of Comedy, and Taxi Driver. I don't know. I like how raw they feel, and like a lot of the actors in there are like real people as well. And he's great working with people who aren't actors. Um, and I guess one that's more like modern, maybe Wes Anderson. I like how colourful his films are. I like the framing and stuff like that. Um, I'll do one more. From cinema, I'm a big fan of Kurosawa. He did all the like the samurai films and stuff like that, and they're really entertaining. Um, so yeah, I'd say check those out. And the filmed fantastically as well. So yeah.
what are you, Ben?
When it came to filmmakers, it wasn't really any big names. Like, I mean, I'm a fan of like the Russo brothers and uh every other director's name has escaped my head at the moment. But Russo's are definitely up there. I do love Edgar Wright's way of filming. The Cornetto trilogy is one of my favorite trilogies outside of the MCU. Uh, I do love it when filmmakers try and be very ambitious, and the way like how Russo brothers tried building up, well, helped build up a world, stuff like that. But when it came to like filmmakers that inspired me to get into filmmaking, I looked, I was like a big fan of uh YouTubers and other uh web filmmakers like Rooster Teeth and Corridor Digital and stuff like that, who Rocket Jump, who like made short videos that ended up putting them on the map. Like Rooster Teeth have their Red versus Blue, which is the longest going web series. But yeah, I've really enjoyed that. When it came into when it came to actually deciding to go into filmmaking, my original plan was I wanted to get into writing, and whenever I thought about writing, I'd always think I want to write a book that would someday get made into a movie, and that would be like the end goal. And then I decided, why not skip that step and just go straight into script writing, which I do alongside Marcus and Dan. Whenever we come up with a project, we'll all kind of come together and do some script writing. So yeah, I'll have to say, like, when it came to coming to getting into filmmaking, it was more of the little guys that got me interested in it rather than the big guys, if that makes sense.
I think writing is a massive thing for me, like writers and things like that kind of like inspire you to do big worlds and big works. I think I like to write. I think personally, when I've tried to write things that aren't like client work and stuff, I've tried to write things with a lot of heart. I'm sorry, I'm waffling a lot, and like I say, apologies, but
Yeah, that's what we're here.
I think a lot of anime directors and anime like writers, like with their like mangas and stuff, whilst regardless of what you want to think of the overall thing, I think some writing is very, very beautifully written, especially with like a lot of like Japanese things. I think there's a lot of great, Western things, but I think sometimes the way that they write is very heartfelt. That's something that I like. I like kind of bringing, that heart through characters. It's certainly something I want to do with the film that I've created this year, and certainly something I want to do with the summer project is creating a lot of heart in what goes on with the story and reflecting the real world and taking that. So it's a culmination of a lot of things. I think Korei Horikoshi, who is a manga writer, he's definitely one. Hiramashima is another one as well. Like, regardless of whatever you want to think of like works and things like that, I just think as pure writing and what they try to do for the majority of the time, the heart is so clearly through there, and I can't express enough like how I want to translate things like that. and translate these kind of more, I guess, obscure stories and more obscure things with like fantasy and stuff, and mixing fantasy and reality together to create a really heartfelt story. So again, sorry I've waffled a lot there, but yeah, that's it. That's what I've got. And obviously to the person that sent that, again, another anonymous tip. Well, thank you very, very much to the person that sent that.
I think that Anonymous is our biggest fan.
I know.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Next to no name.
Next to
Well,
main
thank you to, again, I'm just going to thank him again. Thank you to Mason, Cameron, Marcus, obviously Mason again. Thank you to other people that have possibly attended but didn't want to send any questions in. It has made it very, very good. We hope to see you again on the channel. We hope to see you with more there.
And we hope to bring more to you.
We hope to bring more to you. Sorry, apologies. It's been a very long day. We're doing this. We hope to bring more to you, and we hope to bring that. And there's certainly something coming very, very soon. So if you go on the channel very soon, there could be a little teaser trailer for a film that we've made appearing on there. So I hope that people watch that. And if you've got any questions about that one, available through Facebook, available through there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that the links for Facebook and whatnot are on the YouTube page on one of the videos, so everybody can find that. I will say it now: FTF Productions. That is the name. Capital F, lowercase t, capital F. FTF Productions. You can find that on, and you could send us a message in discussions and things like that. So I don't know if there's anything final you guys would like to say.
Just thank you for your questions. I hope you've learned more about us. I know I've learned more about these two, more than I'd like to know. But yeah, other than that, it's been great.
Yeah. Well, again, thank you to everybody that's sending and everybody that's been watching this video. I really hope you enjoy it. Thank you so much for just attending. It does mean so much to kind of see other people from other places just attending, and I hope we can grow. Thank you very much.
Right, thanks.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Bye.